electric 2 dots. Oh my god, if I literally could be a positive, could be a negative about purple blushes. Well, I agree, this is not going to work. I look like I have rosacea and no one wants to do that. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. We have a very exciting, for me exciting, hopefully for you exciting video today. We are talking about the Huda Beauty UBE cream blush filter. If you are new here, hi, welcome, love you, happy to have you here, but we are obsessed with purple blushes on this channel. If there is a purple blush, I want to try it. I fell in love with purple blush a few years ago. Being so fair and cool toned, I found that a lot of blushes just always pulled too orange or like a weird color on me that like wasn't that tone of pink that I wanted or looked good on me. If you've been here for a while, you know that my first love into purple blush was the Jaclyn Cosmetics Lilac Love blush right here. I use it sparingly because you can't get this anymore, but this was my first love when it came to purple blushes. And I am so excited that Huda Beauty finally came out with the purple. Huda Beauty really does a good job of like listening to what we want and then giving that to us. However, I tend to lean more towards like lavenders and like lighter kind of softer purples, but UBE cream, the shade UBE cream, is described as an electric lilac, which it's definitely a bright bottle. So we are going to do swatch, apply some more, and a wear test. I have dug into this, I have used it a few times, so I have some thoughts on it. We'll go over all of that, different application methods, how I like to use it, and the shade itself, who I think this will work for and who I think this won't work for. There are a lot of pros to this blush and there are also some cons to this blush. We will get into everything, so let's just get right into it. Also, before we do like fully get into it, I straightened my hair today, and what do we think? I feel like I haven't straightened my hair since like middle school. It was the quickest thing today, and I don't know. I feel like my haircut is not conducive to straight hair because all of like my angles and layers, like, what is that? My hairdresser cuts my hair to be wavy, and it is wavy, and it looks good like when it's waved and curled, but when it's straight, like it's not the right cut for straight hair. So the Huda Beauty UBE cream blush filter, this is the blush filter soft glow liquid blush. This is $23 and you get 0.15 ounces or 4.5 milliliters. So that's not too bad of a price, especially for a liquid blush at Sephora. Like, it's expensive, don't get me wrong, but compared to other, you know, Sephora products, not the most expensive thing in the world. However, being only 0.15 fluid ounces, to put that in comparison, the Rare Beauty is $25 and it is 0.25 ounces, 7.5 milliliters, so almost double what you are getting in the Huda Beauty. But one thing that I will give, like as a pro to smaller makeup products, is that if you've ever tried to finish a makeup product, you know how hard that is. That's why when like everyone gets so excited when they hit pan on like a blush or finish a foundation, something like that, because it is hard. You're not using as much of it as you are like skincare. Like a blush, I'm not gonna go through like an ounce of blush. That's kind of crazy. So 0.15 ounces, I do think it's a little expensive for how little you get, but in the case that you are more likely to use this up, especially because it is not as pigmented as something like the Rare Beauty, we'll get into it, I'm kind of not mad because you are going to potentially be able to finish this before it expires. The shade UBE cream is described as an electric lilac. I find that it is very bright. It's not as like deep as I thought, but it is vibrant. I don't know if it's electric. The wand, kind of this like bubbly wand similar to the Shiseido Synchro Skin Concealer, and that kind of limits how much product you can pick up. Like you saw, that's all that I got from one little go. So as bright as it does look at first, it blends out to a more of a softer purpley pink. You keep some of that vibrancy, but you lose like a lot of the punch of that vibrancy, I guess you could say, which depending on who you are could be a positive, could be a negative if you have to keep dipping in to get the level of pigment that you want, or if you don't like the Rare Beauty blushes or the e.l.f. blushes or the ColourPop blushes because of how pigmented they are, then you'll like this formula with this applicator. I would not say that this is a little goes a long way kind of product. If you really want that punch of electric lilac, you are going to have to build this up significantly, and I will show you how that looks on my skin tone. I have a very fair skin, so I feel like if something was going to be a punch of an electric color, it would show up on me. So we're just gonna get into application. I'm gonna do 2 dots just with the tip of the wand, and I'm gonna blend it out with a little IT Cosmetics brush. I'm just gonna tap it. It is just reading as like almost like a very soft but kind of bright bubblegum pink on my cheeks, but again, I literally just finished tapping it in, so I'm gonna let the redness in my cheek go down, and then I will show you how this settles. But like I said, if you are someone who wants a punch of this vibrancy, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get that on one application, because I will show you what it does if I literally do this, going back in a second time and just scribbling on the cheek, and then I'm gonna tap it out. You can see that's a lot of blush, but again, I did just finish, you know, punching myself in the face with a makeup brush. Let that settle, and then I will show you how this looks. Because this, even this right now, people on TikTok would call this blush blindness, but some people wouldn't even. Like, yes, it is bright. It doesn't necessarily look so out of place. It's not too much. It's not too much of a punch of color. And for that reason, I just don't know how well this shade is going to show up or build on deeper skin tones. And you can see it's kind of settling into my cheek now that I haven't been touching it for a little bit. And I think the color still looks very soft. Yes, there is a lot of it on my cheek, but the color itself is still pretty soft. So I don't know how well this is going to show up or build on deeper skin tones if this much product looks this natural on me. Because again, yes, this is covering more surface area, but the level of intensity is not that much more than this. And this was just 2 dots. So do I think it is a crazy buildable pigmented formula? No. Quite honestly, no. But I think it does blend very well. It's not super shiny. It has a little bit of that radiance coming through from my foundation underneath. I mixed the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy with the Catrice True Skin, so that is my base underneath. Also, the pink, it's like kind of matching my little flower on my sweater. I think it's a very blushy, very flirty, girly kind of color on my skin tone, and I think that it is very beautiful. I need to make this cheek now match the other cheek. Do I love this color? Yeah, I love this. I think it's a beautiful, very flirty, girly, very cool toned. It is still pulling pink on me. It is not fully purple, which is what I love so much about purple blushes. And another thing about liquid and cream blushes is that they can look very intense at first, but once you set them with powder, a lot of that pigment gets almost absorbed by the powder. So I'm gonna go over and set my face with my Makeup by Mario setting powder. This is my makeup completely set with powder, so you can see a lot of that intensity has been brought down on my face, so the blush isn't even as punchy as it was when it was freshly applied. So just the color, this is not going to work on every skin tone. I know Huda has these marketing pictures right here. These are the pictures on Sephora's website. I personally wouldn't think that it would show up that well on deeper skin. For the pale girls, I think this is a beautiful purple blush. What I love so much about purple blushes is that purple on fair, cool tone skin turns pink. So I love that about this blush, that it gives me a very natural looking pink on my skin tone. However, I recognize that this shade is not going to work on every skin tone, and probably not most skin tones. If you have a deeper skin tone than me and you have tried this blush, I would love to know if this worked for you or what your thoughts are on it, because obviously I can't test it on a deeper skin tone because I don't have one. It doesn't have any glow to it. It blends out to almost like a blurred look, and it is called the blush filter. So I agree, it is blurring on the skin. I mean, now I have powder on, so that kind of blurs everything, but even before I had the powder on, I do agree that it was almost a bit of a matte finish, a little bit more of a blurring finish. So blush filter, I see where they were going with that name. I really like the color. I think that the formula blends fairly well. I do think it's a little bit pricey, but again, what we said about you're probably going to be able to use this up, especially if you're using that much product, having to go in multiple times and just swiping it all over your cheek. When you have to use that much product, you're going to use it up fairly quickly, and you don't get a lot of product, which that is a good thing because you're going to be able to use up a makeup product, but it's a bad thing because you're maybe paying more for less product, and no one wants to do that. Is it an electric lilac? I wouldn't agree that this color is an electric lilac. It's definitely a like a bright lilac, but I wouldn't call it electric in my opinion. I think that it still looks fairly soft and natural on my skin tone. I will check in at the end of the day, show you how it wore, and give you all of my final thoughts on the blush. Okay, it is now the end of the day. This is how my makeup is looking. This is how the blush has held up. The pigment has not faltered. It is just as pigmented now as it was at the beginning of the day when I put it on. Blurring effect has sustained throughout the day. Going over the claims of this blush, is it buildable? In my opinion, no, it is not that buildable. I feel like it's buildable to an extent, but then you can't build beyond that. And even that extent is not that intense. Okay, Dr. Seuss. Is it blendable? Yes, I do think that it is blendable. Is it the most blendable and creamy like liquid blush I've ever used? No, but it is blendable. I'm not gonna say it's not blendable. Is it blurring? Yes, I do think that it is a very blurring formula, being on the more matte side of a liquid blush. Is it lightweight? Yes. Is it soft focus? Yes. Does it give an impact on my skin tone when built up? Yes. On just like a one pass application, the way that I would apply any liquid blush, I find this to be on the low end of pigmented, but I personally like that. So overall, I would give this like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. I personally like it. I will continue to use it. I understand that this is not going to be for everybody, so I hope that you found this review helpful and you kind of figured out whether or not you want to buy this formula or this color. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye.